Pterinochilus murinus, also known as the starburst baboon, is one of the most infamous tarantulas in the tarantula hobby. Known for being an extremely prolific webber, producing copious amounts of silk, this tarantula's other most notable feature is its nasty temperament, as they get startled at the slightest disturbance and will not hesitate to threat pose, slap the ground, or bite in defense, and they are pretty easy to get riled up. There's a few different forms of this particular tarantula that exist in the hobby. There is the natural form, which is more of a rusty orange or brownish tan coloration. There's the black form, or the dark form, which is the least common, which is a jet black with yellow bands on the legs. And then there is the orange or red color form, also known as the hobby form. This is the most commonly available form of this tarantula species in captivity. But that doesn't make them any less fascinating because, in my opinion, this is amongst one of the most beautiful of all tarantulas. Found in the scrublands of Kenya, this is an arid species that does not require much moisture or make any special requirements when it comes to humidity. They like it bone dry. While some do consider these to be semi-arboreal, as they are far more adept at climbing than most terrestrial species, I still house mine as I do a typical terrestrial tarantula, giving it more floor space than height. In my experience, while these may climb a little bit, they still spend most of their time on or close to the ground, and will even burrow if provided adequate substrate to do so. I give my orange baboons about 3 to 4 inches of substrate, sometimes more for an adult. They will do a combination of webbing and burrowing, so I oftentimes provide them with additional anchor points, whether it be a slab of cork bark, a log, or a variety of branches and leaves to web to. I also provide them with a water dish. A 5-gallon enclosure is perfectly suitable, although you may go up to a 10-gallon if you choose to do so, though it is not necessary, as these tarantulas don't get too large, maxing out at around 5 to 5.5 inches for a female, with males staying somewhat smaller. This is an extremely fast-growing species, and it is not uncommon for males to mature from slinghood to adulthood in less than a year. This tarantula definitely demands respect, and being an old world species, they lack the urticating bristles that the majority of New Worlds have. Therefore, their only means of defense is either their potent venom or their speed. These are incredibly fast-moving spiders, and can literally teleport from one end of their enclosure to the other before you even have time to react. Because of their speed, temperament, and powerful venom, I can only recommend this tarantula to the most experienced of keepers. The venom of this tarantula is believed to be medically significant, and while not lethal, it can produce some very unpleasant symptoms, ranging from severe muscle cramps to nausea, vomiting, and more, which can last for several days or even weeks. While this spider's venom is not as potent as certain other old worlds, such as the Poecilotherias, it can still pack quite a punch, so it is probably best to avoid being tagged by this species if you can help it. You'll oftentimes hear these referred to in the hobby as OBTs. This is both an acronym for Orange Baboon Tarantula, as well as Orange Bitey Thing, referring to the animal's over-the-top and oftentimes rather comical temperament. So if you've been in the hobby for a few years now and built up some experience with old worlds, and are looking for a tarantula that is both beautiful, is a copious webber, and spends most of its time out in the open, you cannot go wrong with the orange baboon.